Tie lines is a common expression used for connecting two mixing consoles together with cables that are sharing I/O boxes and microphone preamps. They are a convenient way of sharing audio from one source to both consoles, rather than having to resort to a microphone splitter and introduce more cabling. This video will take you through the process, step by step. We need two Cat5e cables to connect the two consoles together. They must be no longer than 100 meters point to point. If the distance is greater than this, Midas recommends using distant bridging solutions, such as the DN9610 repeater or the DN9620 extender. In this example, we are going to use a DL251 as our I/O box, but any other Midas I/O box at 96K can be used. The DL251 will be sharing its audio with both consoles. Of course, any combination of consoles can be used, from the compact Pro 1 to the large format XL8, but in this example we have chosen to use a Pro 2 and a Pro 9. In this application, the Pro 2 is being used as the monitor console. The Pro 9 is being used as the front of house console. We can see from the diagnostics page of the Pro 2 that we have ports 1, 2 and 3 connected to the DL251. We do not need to disturb this arrangement. Let's connect our 2x Cat5e cables, or the tie lines, from ports 4 and 5 of the DL371 engine. We are now going to connect the other end of our 2x Cat5e cables, or the tie lines, to ports 4 and 5 of the Pro 2. From the Pro 2 diagnostics, you should now see two red unconfigured generic AES50 boxes. Go to Config and select Port 4 as generic AES50 from the bottom of the drop-down menu. Do the same for Port 5. Leave the diagnostics page open. Now at this point it is wise for both users to agree in advance which console will be running as the master console and which one of them will be the slave console. They cannot both be the master clock, so make sure you agree before starting. Either console can be used, but in this example we're going to make the Pro 2 monitor console the master clock, as this is traditionally what many users choose to do. Now, at the Pro 9 end, we go to the Diagnostics, Config, and select Port 4 as generic AES50 from the bottom of the drop-down menu. Do the same for Port 5. We can now set the Pro 9 front of house console as slave by going to Home, Preferences, Configuration, and changing the clock source from master to slave. Notice the sync source goes from green to blank. Now we need to establish where the new clock for the Pro 9 front of house system is being sourced from. Choose primary clock as AES50 port 4. Notice the sync LED has now gone green again. We now need to set our secondary or backup clock to come from AES50 port 5. We also have the option to ensure that if the primary clock should fail, then the secondary clock will take over automatically. Please note, this will not happen unless we remember to tick the automatic box. If you wish to change from primary to secondary manually, simply leave this box unticked. From our diagnostics page, we now have all connections showing green. Now, as a result of our actions at the Pro 9, we can also see from the Pro 2 diagnostics that all connections are green. Now sync has been established between both consoles, we now need to turn our attention to making the audio available to share via the patching page of the Pro 2. In addition to the DL251, we can now see the inclusion of our generic AES50 boxes on both the input and output pages, displayed respectively on the left and right. We can, if we wish, patch 24 channels bidirectional at 96K, but in this example we are only using two channels which currently have active audio present on inputs 1 and 2 of the DL251. Notice that the audio present is displayed in an active meter. Now we simply select these two channels and patch them over to outputs 1 and outputs 2 of the generic AES50. Now, back over at the Pro 9, go to the patching page. Please note that unlike the master console, the active meter graphics will not be present on the slave console. This is normal. We will now select channels 1 and 2 of generic AES50 and patch it over to the inputs 1 and 2. We can now see that we have audio present on both the console overview page and the surface of the console. Thank you for watching.